this and make sure this goes through. Takes me a couple of minutes to get everything live and connected. All right, so it looks like we are up and live on Facebook. So give me a second here, guys. I'm going to get everything set up and sent out here, but we are going to get things started here. As you'll notice, I am not alone on the camera today. I have Kallie Cooper from Wellington Main Streets here with me. So we're super excited to get a chance to talk with her a little bit about Wellington Main Streets and just kind of some of the things that are going on here in Wellington. So looking forward to that. I will be ready in just a second if I can figure out how to do this. There we go. You would think I would be good at doing this now, but I still have moments where I'm like, what am I doing? And then, of course, Facebook likes to go and change things on me, and I'm like, what? And then, of course, the internet is running much slower now than it used to because everyone is now, of course, using the internet on the internet all the time. So things that I used to be like, oh, there'll never be issues with this. I'm like, wow, there's issues with this now. This is not something I ever expected to have a problem with. All right, well, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. So my name is John Gator, and this is my weekly podcast, and just live from Wellington. And we talk about what's going on here in the town of Wellington. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm excited to be joined by Kallie Cooper. And she is, what's your title officially, Kallie, so I don't mess it up here?
Yeah, no, you're fine. I am the executive director of the Wellington Main Streets program.
Awesome. All right. Well, for those of us, that may not have a great idea of what the Main Streets program is, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and also tell us a little bit about the Main Streets and what you guys do for Wellington?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my name is Kallie Cooper, and I am with the Main Streets program. And what the Main Street program does, or what we are, is we are a 501c3 nonprofit here in Wellington, and we focus on downtown revitalization. So we really talk a lot about how do we create an atmosphere that people want to be in downtown? How do we support businesses? How do we support residents? And how do we also protect the integrity and the historical character of our downtown? So those are kind of some of the things that we touch on. Some of the big projects that you might know of or might not know that we are a part of are, we are responsible for the downtown flower planters. We are responsible for the murals in downtown. We also partner with other organizations for events like the Wellington Brew Fest, the 0.5K Fun Run. And our event is our big event of the year is the Wellorama Music Festival,
Nice.
which we're still crossing our fingers may or may not happen in August. So those are some of the things that we do. But internally, we also touch a little bit on economic development, business promotion and support. And like I said, some of those historical surveys and getting some of our downtown buildings on the national and state historic registry.
Nice. That is awesome. And I know that's something I've talked a lot about this on the live stream over the last couple of months as I've been out talking to the citizens. And I know that's been one of the main concerns for people is how do we get more businesses in Wellington? How do we get some more variety? How do we make sure that those businesses are thriving? And I know obviously in the last couple of months now that we're going on this has been a really rough time for the businesses with COVID-19, whether they've had to edit operations to a smaller scale and some places have had to shut down completely. Is there anything going on right now that you guys at Main Streets or any other organizations are doing to try and work with the businesses here in Wellington?
Absolutely. So our program is working very closely with the Wellington Area Chamber of Commerce and the Town of Wellington Economic Development Department. And we are focusing not only on some promotional things. So, we installed the takeout and curbside pickup signs that you see outside of our restaurants in downtown. So the big orange signs. That was an initiative that we started a few weeks ago. We are also just in the last few days of our Wellington Strong Bingo Challenge. And that is, you can find a link to that on our website, which I think John was going to share.
Yep.
But that is encouraging our restaurants to purchase gift cards online, to follow new businesses on social media, to give reviews for those businesses on social media, to order online, um, and to support local as much as we possibly can. So we're really putting some initiatives forward to help residents know how they can support business. And then on the business side, we're also doing weekly, sometimes even several times a week, we are sending emails out to our local businesses. Just one, to show our support, let them know that we are there, to answer their questions. And we are also collecting all of the resources, collecting all of the information, and sort of filtering through all of it, so that we can give it back to our businesses in a way that makes sense to them and that's easy for them to grasp and to utilize. And so we are, we created a page on the Wellington Main Street website, specifically for COVID-19 resources for small businesses and local businesses. And so we've been directing people that way.
Okay.
And then our next big sort of support thing that we're doing is we're going to be hosting a virtual business town hall Q&A. And that's going to be on May 6th at 6 p.m. and on Thursday, May 7th at 10 a.m. So we're going to do 2 different times so that we are able to hit both times for businesses,
Okay.
both evening and morning.
Nice. So I'm on you guys' page right now. So I went over to the just on the on the COVID-19 page. So I do see that, and it says virtual business town hall Q&A, and that's I see the links here. You can click on the links to join via Zoom. And so we have May 6th at 6 p.m. like Kallie said, then May 7th at 10 a.m. So could you go over a little bit more, kind of what all you guys are going to be answering, questions, stuff like that? What's kind of the goal of these?
Absolutely. So we're really excited. We're going to be joined by Mike O'Connell with the Larimer County SBDC. We're going to be joined by Adam Crow, who is with Larimer County. And then we're also going to be joined by a representative with Larimer County Department of Public Health and Don Doherty with the Wellington Fire Protection District. And that event is going to be hosted by the Chamber, the Town of Wellington, and the Main Streets program. So we're going to have a really great panel there, and we're going to be discussing some of the details on the Safer at Home guidelines that we're going to be moving into as of tomorrow, actually, as of August 27th. And for some of our businesses, it will be May 1st.
Okay.
So we're going to be talking through those guidelines. What should businesses expect? What do they need to have in place to keep both themselves and their customers safe? And we're also going to be touching on some of the financial things for our businesses as well. So what are some funding mechanisms that are available to them? How can we continue to support them financially? And what programs are out there that may not be your typical. So we have our federal programs that we obviously are putting out there for our businesses, but there are a lot of state and local programs that may be available to them as well. So we're really excited to share a lot of that information, and I'm really looking forward to it. I will mention on here, since I have the moment, if you are a small business and you are tuned in right now, if you have applied for the PPP loan, whether you are an independent contractor, 1099 employee, or if you are a sole proprietor, all of those PPP loans, we just got word that the federal government has approved that next round of funding. So please check back with your local lender tomorrow morning, first thing.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Check with your local lender and make sure that your application is still in there and still being processed. And we want to see as many people be supported by that program as possible.
Absolutely. That is really good to hear, because I know I had talked to a few people who were concerned, and they're like, yeah, we applied for that, but then we got word that there's no funding. So it's really good to hear that. Yeah. So if you did apply for those, as Kallie said, go and check in on that. We want to keep our businesses here in Wellington running. And yes, that means you guys.
Absolutely. And for both residents and businesses, if you go to the Wellington Main Street website, we do have a link to the Larimer County Safer at Home guidelines. So those are on that website. And I would encourage residents and business owners both to go and check those out. It will be good for everybody to understand that the state sets their guidelines, but then the county also can set their guidelines, and sometimes the county is more strict than the state. So we really should know what those guidelines are look like, and so it's important for you to go and read through that information, and especially businesses, you can know what they are required to do. So you as a resident can understand what the business is required to do, and that may make you feel more comfortable going to your favorite locations again as well.
Okay. Where in the Wellington, I have the Main Streets website up, Kallie. Where would they go to get to that Larimer County, that link? Would that be on the homepage or on the COVID-19?
It's not. It's actually on that COVID resource page.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm scrolling down here. Is it?
There should be a link to Larimer County on there. And if there's not, I'll make sure that it's added like yesterday.
I see Larimer County SBDC. NOCO recovers, Colorado lending. So I do have a link to the Larimer County SBDC. I have a link to Colorado.
So if you go, if you click on that Larimer County SBDC link, that will take you to that information.
Gotcha.
And then I will also make sure that I put that.
Okay.
I will make sure that I put that on our website later this afternoon too. So
awesome, very cool. So for those guys to see, I posted the link to the Wellington Main Street, it's just WellingtonMainStreet.org, correct, Kallie?
Yeah, WellingtonMainStreet.org, and then you can /COVID-19, and that will take you specifically to that resource page.
Perfect. So I've got both those in, so you guys can just click on those in the chat. Awesome. And then we kind of went over the upcoming event. Really, Kallie, is there anything else that you'd like to kind of share with people? We got a chance to talk to people here live, but as well as anyone that watches this video here in the next couple of weeks.
I would just really encourage you all, if you don't already, please follow the Wellington Main Street and the Wellington Chamber of Commerce on social media. The Main Street program is both on Facebook and Instagram, and I know the Chamber of Commerce is on Twitter and Facebook. And we are posting daily right now business updates for all of the businesses that are either in our program area or a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And we're sharing about what they're doing, how they're impacting the community, how they're giving back. Because we have some great businesses that are not only struggling themselves, but they are still giving back. Pizza Palace is doing meals to go outside of their restaurant. Jackie Isvanka at the Cakery is partnering with the Wellington Food Bank. And I know Soul Squared and Leave It to Cleaver are doing a Leave It to Cleaver market. So we just have some really wonderful things that are happening with our businesses. And so I would encourage you to follow our social media pages so that you can stay up to date on what the businesses are doing and how you can support them.
Awesome. Well, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Kallie, for coming on. I know if you're willing, I can turn off the camera if you want, just to hang out with us. I do want to let people know if you have any questions, I think Kallie can hang out and see if we have any questions to get those answered for you guys. I am going to go ahead and jump into the next item on our agenda, which is starting to go over some of the upcoming board meetings. But thank you so much, Kallie, for sharing that. I know it's been really good information for me to have, as my wife and I are business owners here in Wellington, as well as residents. And it's just, you guys have been a great resource. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I will stick around. I'll turn my video off, but I'll stick around. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Kallie. All right, 1 second here, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hop into the next portion that I have on our agenda for today. So that was Kallie Cooper. She's, again, from the Main Streets program, so the information is in chat. I highly recommend you guys look that up. They're doing a lot of work right now with the Chamber of Commerce, with the town of Wellington, just to really do everything we can to support. And it's been really encouraging for me to see the amount of support from the citizens of Wellington as well for our local businesses. So just want to commend all of you on that. And if you are a business owner, you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kallie. I will throw her email address into the chat as well in a little while, so that you guys can get a hold of her if you do have any questions on that. So we're going to go ahead and hop into the next agenda items, which is going over the recap from the 4/21/2020 board meeting. And that was a very short board meeting, as you can see, a one-page agenda and packet. So this was normally just a work session where the trustees will kind of talk and work through things with the town. And so the only thing that was on the agenda was a COVID-19 update from Kelly Hodling, who's our interim town administrator. And she just kind of gave us an update on what's happening and what's going on with with COVID-19 in Larimer County, and then also specifically to Wellington. The one note that came out of that I think was really good, there's a lot of information, but the one thing I did want to bring up to you guys is that our, why am I drawing a blank right now? I am totally drawing a blank. Tom Gonzalez, there we go, is coming out from Larimer County. So that was actually on this, that Kelly brought up, that Tom is coming out virtually to our town board meeting this next Tuesday to kind of give us a little bit of an update directly from the public health director for Larimer County. So that was something that we learned about in this board meeting. Again, it was very short, so it was kind of nice that we were able to get onto that. But I do want to hop over to our next agenda item, which is the upcoming board meeting, which is going to be very busy. We have a lot of stuff on the agenda, so I want to make sure that we are able to get you guys up to speed, because there are some things that are pretty important that are coming up. So the first thing, we'll have community participation. As always, we do have public comment at the beginning of the meeting, and that is open to anyone and everyone from the public. If you have something you want to talk to the board about that is not on the agenda, please bring that up and just share any concerns that you have. Look in the chat. Aaron Jerome says Kelly's doing an awesome job. I completely agree with you, Aaron. Kelly's been doing a phenomenal job. I know we've got a lot of insanity going on right now with COVID-19 and just everything, and Kelly has stepped up in a big way, and the town staff is doing a great job. So I absolutely agree with you 100%. All right, so public comment. So if you have any questions, you can either submit them ahead of time to Cynthia, and her email address is here on the agenda, or you can just type them into the chat. Please make sure if you do type them in the chat, put your name and your address, so that for public record, we know who you are when you're making that comment. Then we're also going to have two presentations. So we're going to have Tom Gonzalez, the Public Health Director for Larimer County, is going to be giving us an update on COVID-19. So that'll be great to hear directly from Tom, who is, again, our for the entire county, he's a public health director. And then Kallie Cooper will actually be giving a Wellington Main Streets program report to the Board of Trustees as well. So we'll have both of those items will be at the beginning of the meeting. And then moving on, we do have the consent agenda, which will basically be the minutes from the prior board meetings that happened in March and the beginning of April. So they'll be getting those meeting minutes will be approved by the board. I did want to make one comment on this, because as we were working through, if you haven't been on, so I was recently elected to serve on the next board of trustees. It will actually be sworn in during this Tuesday meeting. And so been going back and forth with the town attorney on the agenda and everything, getting this all squared away, which is part of why I was slow in getting the my note out as far as what we're going over. As waiting for the agenda to be finalized. But I actually learned something new, so I want to share this with you guys, is that with this consent agenda, which basically the way that the consent agenda is, it's a great tool to help save time and to get through things very quickly, and really appreciate the board trying to make these meetings as concise and to really value everyone's time that comes to these meetings. But if there is an item on the agenda, it's on the consent agenda, because the way it works is usually, unless there's an issue with something on there, the trustees just vote to approve the consent agenda. There's no discussion, it's just approved, and then we move on to the next item so we can get through things quickly. Because again, usually there's not errors in the meeting minutes or something like that, so it's usually pretty quick. But if there is an item that any one of the trustees, but also anyone in the public would actually like to have comment on, all you have to do is request that be removed from the consent agenda. And that can be a trustee, that can just be a member of the public. So let's just say, for example, there was something in one of the meeting minutes that you wanted to comment on as a member of the public. You can actually request as a member of the public that that item be removed from the consent agenda, which will then be opened up for comment. And then at that opportunity for public comment, you would have your chance to make that comment. And so I do want to share this because I know one of the initial thought processes was, as you'll see here, we have the item 2 and 3, which are the appointing the mayor pro tem. Oh, sorry, no, items 1 and 2. I apologize. 1, 2, and 3, we were looking at doing those on the consent agenda, especially with 1 and 2. And I don't think that there'll be a lot of conversation, but one of the things that I've said is I really want to work on being transparent. I want to have things open and just really give that public that opportunity to share input. And so those items were actually initially on a separate consent agenda that would have been for the new board. And I spoke with our town attorney and requested that those actually get pulled off of the consent agenda, just so that those are open for public comment. So the reason for that is I, as a trustee, before I'm going to vote on something, and especially if that's appointing people to boards and appointing someone as mayor pro tem, appointing our town attorney and our town administrator and all of those things, I really want to hear your feedback as a community. I understand that you guys put a lot of trust in those of us who you've elected to serve in this last election, but to me that doesn't mean that I earned your trust, now I can just do what I want. I really need to continue to earn that trust. And so I just want to, let you guys know I learned that if you ever see something on a consent agenda that you would like to have an opportunity to comment on, you can just simply ask for that and it can be pulled off. But also, I really appreciate the willingness of our town staff to just say, absolutely, we want to make sure that we are transparent. We're letting the people know what's going on. And so that is something that got changed, but I just want to let you guys know on that. So moving on to item D, we'll have the changing of the board members. And so the new trustees, that will be Rebecca Kinney, myself, and Ashley McDonald will be taking the oath of office. So that'll be item D. And then we'll move on to item E, which is the action items. So the first resolution, this is our officers, boards, and commission appointees for 2020. And this is basically appointing board members to the different boards that we have within the town. So like the planning commission, the parks board, the community activities commission. So we'll be going through that. And again, I think we kind of have a pretty good idea of who's going to be willing to serve on which boards. But again, if you in the community have thoughts and comments, please make those because I as a trustee really want to have you guys' inputs and comments. Then we're going to have resolution 11. We'll be appointing a mayor pro tem. And that's just basically they serve in the capacity where if for whatever reason the mayor is not able to attend a meeting or something happens that he can't be there, the mayor pro tem would then be just like any other board member, but they would actually take over the procedural portion of running the meeting in the mayor's absence, which in 2 years, I think we had one meeting in over 2 years where our mayor was absent for that at all. So it's really has not ever been an issue, but we'll have that appointment will happen because the board needs to appoint that person. Then on resolution 12, 2020, we'll be appointing the town administrator and clerk. We'll be appointing the town treasurer. We'll also be appointing the town attorney and municipal judge. And so that'll again be the new board that's coming in. We'll be appointing those different positions. And again, this is something where I really would value you guys' thoughts and comments. Is if you have thoughts on what we should do with those positions, I would really love to hear those. So please make sure that if you do have thoughts and concerns, let us know. So those are first three resolutions. Number 4 is a purchase request, and this is for the crosswalk safety project. And so this is going to be, they're coming to us for approval to actually move forward with doing the crosswalks on downtown and then also outside of our schools, I believe. And so they're going to be coming to us, the board, to get approval to actually move forward with purchasing equipment and getting things set up for that. And so if you do have thoughts or concerns on that, again, please make sure you bring those to our attention. And then item 5, we have a purchase request for a dump truck from our Public Works Department. And that is actually from something that was budgeted into our budget for 2020. So it's an expense that we're expecting to make this year. And it sounds like that we're actually probably going to be getting more than what we were initially looking at within the budget, which is fantastic. But again, if you have thoughts and comments on that, please let us know. Item number 6, I would highly recommend that you guys would really appreciate your thoughts and comments on that, because this is where we are actually going to be asked to approve the funding. So the board has approved doing the crosswalks, and we've also approved the study to figure out what we need to do with County Road 9 and Highway 1, right by the high school. That intersection there that is a mess, and the board agreed that we need to do a study to start figuring out what do we do with that, and how do we work with Larimer County as well as with Poudre School District to try and find some kind of a solution, but we need to be willing to take the first steps. Well, both of these projects have come up within this year to get approved to do, and neither of those are budgeted into the budget for 2020. And so what the staff is coming to is they're actually going to make their recommendation is that we transfer funds that were originally going to be used for a downtown master plan project and an economic development study, and take those funds and utilize them to fund the County Road 9 and the Crosswalk project, which are $75,000. And I have to double check on the numbers on the Highway 1 project. I want to say it's another $70,000. I will double check that number. I've gone through the agenda packet. I've looked over everything. I haven't had a chance to study it all. That's today and tomorrow. But if you have thoughts and comments, because again, we are taking money out of things that we were going to spend them on in one area, and we are transitioning them over to another area. So now the question becomes, is it a better use to use that money in the area of the crosswalks and with the County Road 9 and Highway 1 versus what we were going to do with the economic development and the downtown master plan? And so that's the question that the board is going to have to answer. And I would love to have your input as the community as to what you feel on that. So if you have an opinion one way or the other, I would love for you guys to share that with us. Also, I would recommend, so those are the only two that we are being asked to approve, is these two projects here. But they did attach the CIP adjustments, and this is what the town has come up with, different projects that could potentially be removed to help make up for some of the forecast. We're forecasting we're going to see a loss in revenue just because of COVID-19. And so this is where the town is saying we think we can pull some money out of these areas to make up that difference, or make up at least a portion of that difference. And so I would really recommend that you guys take the time to look through this list just to get an idea of, is there anything on this list that is personally to you very important that you feel needs to be kept on? And if it is, you need to let us know so that we can move forward. And we just have that when we make that decision. Obviously, we have to balance out what can we get rid of, what do we need to keep. But I would really like to have you guys' thoughts and comments, because there are things that you see that you think are important that I may not see or I may not understand. And so just would recommend you guys take a look through that and understand what we're looking at possibly doing with that. So, and then we have the Larimer County Sheriff's Office is giving their monthly report. And so I would recommend taking a look at that if you are ever one of those people that finds yourself asking the question, what is the sheriff's office doing? Are they going out on calls? Is there actually things you can actually look through this report? And it gives you a report of the dispatch calls, the calls that they initiated, how many there were, and there's, you can figure out what they were for. So there's a lot of information on this report. So I'd highly recommend, if you do have questions or concerns about what's happening with the Sheriff's Department here in Wellington, this is your opportunity. There's a report here that actually goes through all of that, and I'll help you see that. We also have attached the financial report for March 2020. This is from the town of Wellington. And this is something that just recently, last, I think, couple of months, Tyler Sexton has started putting this together. And it's been fantastic. Again, my wife and I are accountants, so I like to see where I can actually understand what's going on with the money. But this is a really great report and opportunity to go through and actually see what's happening. Where's the money going? What are the different funds looking like? And it's broken out between the general fund and all the different funds. So if you would like to go through that, you can. And then also attached below, once I get down to the bottom here, is capital projects. You have the checks paid, and then the P card purchases as well. So again, if you like going through detail and understanding what's happening, where the money's going, this is all attached in this report, and it is given to us every month. And so Tyler and his staff, again, have done a great job on that. So with that, I do want to open it up to, if you guys have any questions. Kallie Cooper is still here on the line. So if you guys do have any questions for her, please go ahead and throw those in the chat, and would be happy to have her answer those. If you have any questions for me as well, I would be happy to answer those. But again, would remind you guys, April 28th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m., we will be having the board meeting for this next Tuesday. So that's coming up here in 2 days. And again, we have a lot going on in this board meeting. Hopefully we'll be able to move through it pretty quick. But would just highly recommend you guys take the opportunity to hop on. It's about as easy as it can ever be right now to attend a board meeting, because you can just open up your computer and do it from there. But let the town staff, let the board of trustees know if there are any concerns that you guys have. I have been very, very encouraged just in the work that's gone on in the last week and a half. And just between myself and the town staff, just to see their desire to really let you guys and really to serve you guys as the community. And actually, one comment I wanted to bring up is there was actually a question asked last week about a street light that was out in a neighborhood. Was asked on the live stream, is this something, an issue that could be dealt with? And I brought that up in the live stream, and I actually received an email the next day from our town administrator, Kelly Hodling, and she actually wanted to reach out and make sure we figure out what was happening with that and to make sure the citizens' concern got addressed. So I know we're not perfect, none of us are, but the town staff is really wanting to do a good job of responding to you as the citizens and making sure that we deal with any issues and concerns that you have. I've said this from the beginning of running to be on the board of trustees, is I really want to represent you guys well. I want to have a lot of communication, and there are some things I'm going to bring up at the board meeting as well in the board. At the end here, there's a board reports where we have an opportunity to bring up some issues or thoughts that we have to the board. And there are a couple of things that I do want to bring up that are really geared towards really improving that communication and that transparency between the board and the members of the community. So I am looking forward to it. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I think that we are going to go ahead and wrap things up. We're right here at our 30-minute mark that we try to stay within. Kallie, just want to say once more, thank you so much for hopping on with us and sharing with us what you guys are doing for Main Streets here for the town of Wellington.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I did want to let you know, I did get the link to those Larimer County Safer at Home guidelines up on the website.
Okay.
If you scroll down to the bottom, it will say additional resources, and it's the very first link in that little box.
Perfect.
So those, please go check those out. And John posted my email, so if you have any questions, I am always available via email, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. So thank you so much for having me.
Yep, absolutely. I have those there. And really quick, before I close out, let me make sure that I put your email in the chat.
Oh, no problem. Yeah.
Yep. So, and I have that up there, and it's the Safer at Home guidelines, right?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
There we are. Yep. And so there you go, guys. This is the page that Kallie was talking about earlier today. So thank you so much for getting those for us, Kallie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm really excited for this next phase. I'm excited that businesses will be able to reopen soon. But obviously we want to do that systematically, and we want to do that safely. So, by everybody following the new set of guidelines, I think that we can be successful in that.
Absolutely. And I think that we all want to get out of this. We were talking about that before we started. I think we're all ready we want to get back to work. We want to get our lives going. So awesome. Well, thank you again, Kallie, and thank you everyone in Wellington. And we'll see you guys next week on Sunday.